Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. So with this video, we are going to talk about API interview question series. So there are around 65 questions that I have collected from different sources. And then a couple of people, they shared one document also with me. So I really like these questions. Answers are already written on these documentation, but I'll try to explain you each and every question properly with the proper examples and proper steps. And I'll tell you this is what you have to explain at the time of interview and what is the best way of explaining the questions for API point of view, because API, there is no UI, there is no UI automation, or there is no like XPath or something like that that you have to write, right? So we have to understand that what do you mean by API, how exactly it is working, and how to present the best answer at a time of interview with respect to API testing. So this is a documentation that I'm going to show you in some time. This is somewhere prepared by me, and then there are some other students also. They shared some questions, and I collaborated all the questions together, and then I prepared one final documentation for that, and then you guys can refer it. Okay, so I took some questions from the Google also, and then some other resources also. So it's not fully designed by me, but I thought of, okay, fine, let me just give the best answer to you guys so that you can also explain that what do you think about API testing, and then how to explain the best answer for the API questions at a time of interview. So let me share my screen. So these are the API testing interview questions. You can see that there are around there will be around 60 questions. See this, see that there are many questions are there like that. Okay, so we will see one by one all the different questions. So today in the first session, we are going to talk about around 10 to 15 questions. We will try to take it. So I'll try to cover in next 4 to 5 videos. We will try to cover all the API automation, testing automation, or testing interview questions, because API is not about only automation that you have to do. There are a lot of fundamental things that for API and API testing point of view. And then I'll try to show you some really good examples also. So perfect. So quickly, the first question is that what is an API? So guys, try to understand that API is nothing, just the full form of API you should know about: application programming interface. It's a software, or it's a piece of code that enables two applications to communicate with each other. For example, let's see, I have two applications. They are totally different application, or totally two different systems. They really want to communicate between each other. Then in that way, we have to communicate via APIs, right? So for example, let's see, typical example we always take, I go to makemytrip.com. Makemytrip.com is calling Indigo or SpiceJet or Emirates API, and then we are getting the response that, okay, yeah, these are the flights are available. So makemytrip.com is behaving like an API for me to communicate between you, like between me and the Emirates or Indigo, or any kind of applications are available, or flight booking websites are available. So I can just do it through the makemytrip.com. You go to any website, so you don't need to go to directly to the chef or the cook. You say, okay, fine. You just call a waiter or say that, okay, fine, I want this, I want that, and then give me the bill, take my order. So you are giving the order to that particular person. That person is behaving like an API. That waiter is behaving like an API, which is sending you your requirement or your data, your request to the chef, and then chef is preparing the food for you. So, and then it will be again given to the waiter, and then waiter is giving and serving back to you on your table. So that is the basic fundamental of API, right? So communicate between two systems, we always use APIs. For example, if you see the real-time example, there are hundreds of examples that without API, you cannot create any web application, because whenever you have to, let's see, read the data from the database, whenever you have to integrate with some third-party systems, everywhere you need an API. So for example, let's see, Google Maps API. So Google Maps integrated with, let's see, your food delivery app, or Zomato or Swiggy, or let's say Uber app. So they are calling the Google Map APIs. That's why they are able to, find out the location, find out the total number of, cars are available to that particular location. And then the from and to destination, whatever distance is getting calculated, the traffic and everything is coming from those information coming from the Google Map APIs, Amazon advertising APIs, Twitter APIs, YouTube APIs. There are plenty of APIs are available. You can say that. So another question is that what are the main differences between API and web service? Remember one thing, guys, fundamental basic understanding is that all web services are APIs, but not all APIs are web services. For example, let's see, I have created a method. Let's see, add method. For example, let me show you one method over here. For example, let's see, this is a Java program that I'm going to create. Under this particular Java program, let's create a simple class over here. So let's create a new class here. My class name is, let's see, for example, let's see, ecom class. And then you select the main method and click on finish. Okay, I'm writing a program in Java. So I'll create a method over here. For example, let's see a simple method. Let's take a very straightforward method. I'm writing public static void, or let's see, this method is fine, initially void and simple add method. This method says that you give me two numbers, for example, integer a, comma, integer b. And then I'll do one thing. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to create one integer sum is equal to a plus b. So I'm just adding two numbers and then I'm returning sum from here. So instead of void, I have to write what? I have to write integer here because I'm returning sum. And then I'm going to call this particular function. So this function is static in nature, so I can call it directly without creating the object. I'm passing 10, 20. So what is API here? So API, if you see, this is a simple method that I have created under this particular ecom class. And I've created one method. So this method, I can say it's a kind of an API that I have created. And then this is my consumer. The main method is going to consume this particular API. And add method is a producer. It's producing some data for you. For example, a plus b. So whatever data that you are passing, it will be returning back. And then this guy will consume, let's say, in some s variable. And then I'm printing the value of s over here. So obviously it will give you some data like 10 plus 20, whatever data is coming, 30. And then you decide what exactly you want to use this particular 30, whatever that data that you are getting, the response that you are getting, you want to display on the UI or your mobile app or your web app or any iOS app, where exactly you want to use this, it's up to you. So this is my consumer and this is my producer. So I cannot say that this is my web service. This is what? This is an API. So there are many examples. You can say that, okay, fine, send email notification, do this, get information, get my account details. So there is at the core level, at the business level, there is one method is written. And every method I can say, okay, it's kind of an API for me. But what happens when you put this particular API on top of HTTP protocol, or let's say if over the network, that if we are trying to access that. So let's say this is over the network. And then this is my API that I have written, right? So over the network, if you try to access that, so obviously I need some URL for that, right? So then over the network, if you are calling this particular API, let's see this guy, this particular system is calling this particular API. So I'll hit this particular URL of this API. I'll say, okay, fine, go to abc.com or let's say calculator.com, call this particular add API, and I'm passing two parameters, let's say A and then B, and then give me what? So then you are getting result of whatever A plus B, and then you are getting a response over the network that you are getting it. So when you design an API, on top of that, you are creating a web service on top of that in the form of URL over the network, you are trying to access that API, then it will become what? Then it will become a web service, right? So this is what you have to understand, that at the core level, right? At the business logic level, that you have written an API. And if you're trying to access that particular API, for example, let's see, fine, let's say Crick Info API, give me the current scorecard that India is playing with Australia, and then give me the current scorecard. So current scorecard will be calculated internally, and over the network, it will be given to you, and then it will be displayed on the portal or on your web or on your mobile apps like that. So that calculation is done by the API. Over the network, you are calling that API via some URL or something. And then you have to pass certain information. For example, you have to pass the URL. You have to pass that, okay, what is the value of A and B? And then you have to tell, okay, fine, this is my username, password to access this particular API. And then I'm getting the response back to the client. So this is how the APIs are working with respect to web services. I hope it's clear, right? So again, back to the question, that's why I'm saying all web services are API, because web services are internally using API, but I cannot say that, okay, all APIs are web services. There is no mandatory that, there is no compulsion that this add method I have to call via web services only. I'm just simple, let's say, calling it over here also from the main method, from the console, from the command line, from anywhere I can access that without network. I don't need any network for this. So that's why you can say that, okay, all APIs are, all web services are API, but not all APIs are web services. I hope it's clear. Okay. Web services, see this, might not contain all the specification and cannot perform all the tasks that API would perform. Web services are very having a limited information. Okay, fine. You tell me what is a URL. You tell me how exactly the different parameters that I'm going to pass to which URL that we have to hit. And then after hitting that, the core level, the actual business logic or a specification and everything is written inside the API. And over the network, we are calling web services. A web service use only three styles of use. It can be a SOAP-based API, REST-based API. I'll tell you the difference between SOAP and REST in upcoming chapters also. XML RPC call also, you can do that for communication, whereas API may be exposed to in multiple ways. So this is a basic difference between API and the web service. Okay, let's go to the next question. Next question is about that. What are the limits of API uses? See, this is again a very important thing, because it's not like there are multiple APIs are available. Let's see, Google APIs or Twitter APIs, or let's see, any XYZ APIs are available, which is giving you, let's see, weather information and then forecast information, then the data about the World Cup, data about the FIFA World Cup, what is the scorecard and everything. So it's not like that, okay, you're just hitting the API and getting the response and then showing the response on your website. There are multiple APIs that you have to be authenticated. They will authenticate you that, okay, are you a right user or a right consumer or not? And then it's not like that, okay, every time, let's see, millions of APIs you are hitting or millions of calls that you're doing for that particular API. It's not like that. So they will restrict the APIs. For example, it depends on the provider to provider. So let's see, if you really want to access some crypto APIs, or let's see, share market APIs, or let's see about you really want to get the financial data of any specific company, Zero API and all these APIs that you are calling it. So let's see, 60 minutes or 60 APIs per minute you can call it, or let's see, 100 APIs per minute you can call, 100 calls per minute you can do that. So they will restrict you. On top of that, you have to pay for it. So let's see, like that. So these are the limitations of the API uses I'm talking about. I'm not talking about API limitations. I'm talking about uses of APIs, right? So thus try to estimate your usage and understand how exactly it will impact the overall cost of the offering. So obviously budget and the cost will be involved. And then on the basis of that, you have to decide, okay, yeah, how many APIs that we have to hit per day and per second, per minute, like that. On the basis of that, you have to pay for it. And then you will be start using the third-party API or any internal API. Next question, let's talk about what are some architectural styles of the creating a web API. Okay, there are specific typical interview questions like HTTP for client server communication. There is one client, there is one server, and you are communicating, you're getting the data from the database via API over the HTTP protocol. So typical client server communication, you can do that. You can use XML and JSON as a formatting language. XML and JSON, these are the very lightweight documentation, lightweight data formats. You can use it because, see, for example, let's see, this application is written in .NET and this application is written in Java. So obviously Java cannot directly communicate with the .NET application or Python application or some very old legacy system that you are using it. Because if Java and Java, they are communicating, this is fine. You are sending one Java object and serialize and deserialize the Java object over here. But you cannot read that particular, one second. You cannot read, okay, the .NET response, which is coming from the .NET system, and then you are reading in the Java system. For that, the communication media is your XML or JSON. So we will say, okay, fine, that I really want to get this particular information from your system. And this system will send one JSON, and JSON can easily be identified and read by a Java system. And Java system is also sending the data. Let's see, hey, I want to send this particular XML or JSON. Can you please display on your system? So .NET also can easily understand XML and JSON. So that's why these are very popular data formats are available to communicate between multiple systems, communicate between two systems. And these are very lightweight data formats are available. So that's why most of the time you will see we are getting JSON response or XML response that we are getting it, okay, from the server or from the API response. Simple URI as the address of the services, and then stateless communications. We will talk about what do you mean by HTTP stateless and REST also stateless communication, where we don't need to, at the server side, we don't need to maintain the session ID and everything. The client will take care about the session ID. So these are the four common architectural way of style of creating the web APIs. Who can use a web API? See this. Who can use the web API? So web API can be consumed by any client. That's why you must have seen that I can use it as a over the HTTP. I can use it. Let's see, there are multiple get calls, put call, delete, and post call. I can use it via POSTMAN also, maybe from iOS devices, from Android services, from Windows devices, from Chrome browser, from any browser or from any web application. So these are these are my clients. I can access it, right? So since web API services do not require configuration, they can easily be used by any client. In fact, even portable devices also, you can use it over here, right? So let me just show you. Let me show you, see, I have one Postman example. So this is a typical API. For example, let's see, get all product categories. I really want to see that, okay, in this particular application, how many product categories are there? So see, this is my Postman, and Postman is a client which is helping me to call the API. So I'm just calling this particular API and getting the response over here. You can see that. So this is my response here, you can see, and these are the categories, let's see, are there in a specific system. And these same categories will be displayed on the UI also. Here you can see that. So dummyjson.com or something like this, you can call it. If you really want to, let's see, add a new product. I want to add a new product. So this will be a post call because I want to create a new resource in my database. So that will be a post call. So let's see, again, json.com product add. So this is my API service URL. And then it will add the product. And as a body, I'm passing title MacBook Pro, for example. So when you hit this particular API, see, it's actually adding the ID is equal to 101 and title is equal to MacBook Pro. So one database entry will be created over here like this, right? So this is what you can do from any client. This client could be anything. Okay. Now, let's talk about the next question. Who can use a web API that we have already taken? Now let's take the sixth question. The sixth question is about that. What is API testing? And what kind of testing that we have to perform for API? So that is obviously that API is, again, everything is running in the background. Everything is happening in the background. You cannot see, you cannot visualize the APIs like that, because in the web automation, in the web UI, in the web testing, what we do that, okay, fine, this is the form that we have to fill. This is the data that we have to fill. And this is the button that we have to click, and then click on this link and navigate to some one page to another page like that. But here in API testing is a kind of software testing, again, that determines if developed APIs meet expectation regarding the functionality of the API is actually correct or not. So first of all, that we will make sure that, okay, your APIs are stable, your API functionality, whatever the desired output that we are expecting from the API, this is what we are expecting. API should be reliable. And then we have to do the performance testing also. And then the security of the application, we have to check that. It's not like otherwise anyone can steal your data. Anyone can fetch the data by calling those APIs. So make sure that, okay, the authentication is very important, at how exactly your APIs are getting authenticated and authorizing the request that we are getting from the different customers. Otherwise, anyone can, expose the data. Anyone can get the data. Let's see, some payment gateway APIs. So I'm sending, okay, fine, give me all my account details, my current balance in this particular bank account. So we are passing the bank account name, bank account, name and the phone number or account number that we are passing, and then we are fetching the data. But along with that, we have to send the username, password also, or maybe some token also we have to pass, so that server, the ICC bank server or any bank server or payment gateways server, they will understand, okay, yeah, it's a reliable customer, and then we are giving back the response back to the customer, right? So this is about the API testing that we have to perform. I'll do one thing. I'll show you one practical example of API. You see this application here, and I'll do one thing. See this carefully. I'll do one thing, that I'm going to create one data over here. So you simply go to NaveenAutomationLabs.com and then /open card. And after that, you just simply go to a registration. So I'm going to register a new user over here. Any user, for example, let's say I'm saying this is my API automation user, and then I'm writing the last name is API, and then I'm writing API automation @gmail.com. Let's see. Telephone number, I'm writing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. And the password I'm writing, let's see, API @123. Again, and password API 123. Privacy policy this, and this is the email will be registered. So see, from the web, I'm hitting the API. From the web, I'm filling the page. It will hit the internal, maybe some registration API or something like that. And then the data will be stored where? The data will be stored somewhere inside my database. So I'll show you the database also. And you simply click on continue. When you click on continue, it says, okay, fine, your account has been created successfully. And then you have logged in. That's why you are able to see logout button. But I really want to see that from the web, I'm sending the request, right, guys? I'm filling the form, because you cannot give the API to the end customer. I cannot give these APIs that, okay, fine, this is the post call, this is the JSON payload and everything that you have to you cannot give that to the customer directly. So APIs are running in the background. First, we have this presentation layer or UI layer, and internally we have this API layer, which we are calling the APIs. And then it is storing the data somewhere in my database. So for example, let's see if I'm using MySQL database or Oracle database. So let's see that, okay, fine. This is my, let's see, database of this particular application. I'm showing the entire database over here. And then I'll go to my, let's see, one customer that we have created. So let's go to this particular table. You can see TIA underscore customer table. And then I'm going to hit one SQL query. So I'll say, okay, fine. Here you can see that I can write one SQL query that select the star from customer table. And then I'm saying that once again, underscore a customer dot, one second, let me where I'll write once again, underscore dot, I'm going to use, let's see, email, which is equal to what? The email that we just created, that API automation gmail.com. Let's see this data got created or not. So here you can see that yes, we have received one data entry here. You can see in the table. And then the customer ID is something like this, 5536. This is my email ID. This is the telephone number that we have added. First name, last name, entire entry that is created over here. The password will be in the encrypted format. So obviously you cannot see the password over here, but you can see that yes, the data got created inside my database. So this is my database actually, and this is my UI. And then between database and the UI, because now we are communicating between two systems, that I'm saying, okay, fine, I want to create a data. So data will always be created from the end user side. So this web application or this browser is behaving like a client for me. And from the client, I'm filling the form. And then obviously data has to be maintained. Browser cannot store the data. There are millions of users are there. Let's see, for Amazon.com or for any application. I cannot store the browser data on the browser information, right? Or user data on the browser. I cannot do that. So obviously I need to maintain a database over here. So that is what the data is we are going to maintain here. I'll give you one more example. You do one thing. Let's search for MacBook. Okay. And see this carefully. Let's click on MacBook Pro, this particular product, add to cart. And then see, everything is actually, this entire data is coming from the backend, from the database only. And then you click on checkout. After clicking on checkout, I'll do one thing. You right click on it and go to inspect. And you can go to the network tab in the Chrome Dev tools. And here you can inspect all the APIs over here. So see, whenever I go to the checkout page, and you can observe all the APIs, you can check all the APIs in the background, how many network calls are happening. So I'll do one thing. I'm going to refresh this page once again. If you refresh this page once again, and you just, instead of clicking on all, you click on fetch XHR, right? So all the HTTP requests you just need to send me. And here you can see this is the API in the background that we are running. This is the API in the background that we are running. If you see the headers information, you click on headers, and you can see this is the request URL that we are hitting. And then after that, this is a response. These are the response header. These are request headers. And this is a payload that we are getting. Sorry, this is a payload that we are passing, that we want country ID is equal to, let's see, for example, 222. So here you can see that country is equal to United Kingdom, and it's in the background in the database, country ID is equal to 222. And what is the response that we are getting? See, this is a JSON response we are getting. You click on the formatted response here, and you can see that under UK, these are the number of zones are available, right? So for example, let's see if I'm selecting India, and then you try to observe the behavior here. See, let me just clear the console, and then let me select India from the dropdown. So let's select that. And can you see one more API got called in the background? And you go to the response tab and click on this guy, and you can see that yes, for country name is equal to India, country ID is equal to 99. And then these are the number of zones are available. You can see Andaman, Nicobar, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and everything. We are getting it. Same data is actually coming from where? The same data, the data is actually available inside a database. APIs are just fetching the data from the database with the help of this particular API, and then it will be given to the browser, and the browser or the UI, and the UI will display that, okay, fine, if you select India, these other regions are available. So all these drop-down entries, you can see region or a state and country, how many states are there in that particular country. Everything is coming in the form of response here, and the same will be displayed inside the drop down here, right? So I can show you, see, I'll show you this particular data in my database also. So now I'll show you that how exactly this particular data will be visible. Okay. So let's see, for country name is equal to India and country ID equal to 99. Exactly same data should be there in my database also. So I'll do one thing. I simple go to one table. For example, the table name is TIA underscore zone. Okay. And here the specific country ID, because in every country, there are multiple zones or states are there or regions are there. Well, let's see, for example, that for India, what is the country ID? So I'll do one thing for, see this carefully. Let's go to the country table first. And let's see what is the country ID for India. So I'll do one thing. Let me just go to India country here. See here, India. Can you see that? This is my country. And then country ID is equal to 99. That's why the same exact ID, you can see it over here. Country ID is equal to 99. Right? And name is equal to India. And then other information also coming from there. And then I'll go to the zone table. So zone is a different table. So let's go to the zone table now. So zone table somewhere is available over here. Let me just refresh this page. And I'll do one thing. Let me go to the third page here. And see, this is my zone table. And then you can see that, yeah, country ID. So you can hit a query. So you can say that, okay, fine. How many zones are there where country is equal to 99? So let's write a basic SQL query here. So I'm writing that where dot, and I'm saying country ID is equal to 99 because I know that for India, country ID is equal to 99. And let's hit this query. So now you can see that, see, for country ID 99, you can see all the states. Let's say I'm selecting number of rows equal to 50 and all the states that you are getting, right? Let's see if you really want to. So how will you do the database testing with respect to API testing? So I'll do one thing that, okay, fine. I'll write select count star from this. So this is the SQL query that we are going to hit. And then I'm saying, okay, once again from this one dot and then country ID is equal to 99. Same data should be displayed on the UI also. So let's see what is the count that we are getting. Okay, so select a star from, I'll write where clause, forget to write. Let me just hit it once again. And now you can see that it's saying 33 is the count. So count star is giving you 33. It means this exact 33 regions should be displayed over here as well. It means the count should be 33. So there are 3 levels of validation you have to check. First of all, that when I hit this API, what is the response and what is the zone count that we are getting? So this zone count also should be 33. So here you can see zone is an array. This is a 0th element. This is first element like that. And zone is getting somewhere ended over here. So I'll do one thing just to validate that. I'll just copy this guy and then copy this and then open, let's see, somewhere over here. So let's see, you can just JSON viewer, you can open that, paste it, and then you just try to visualize in this format. And then this is a zone. And then you open this particular zone. See, I'll show you. And the count should be, you can see 0 to 32. It means 0 to 32 means 33 zones are there. And for each and every zone, you can just check the information. You can see this is for Andaman Nicobar, and then this is for Bihar. Let's see, this is for Daman and Diu, and then Goa, and all such things are coming over here. So it's giving you 0 to 32 count means, yes, in the API, data is correct. And now exactly I'll do the same thing over here that, okay, fine, these are the 32 states are getting displayed over here or not. So you can see this is the count of 32. You can use it. So in terms of automation for this guy, you have to write Selenium or any API UI automation tool to check this guy. You have to use, let's see, POSTMAN or RestAssured or anything. And then to check that, you have to use the database testing. So how many types of testing that we are performing here? 3 types of testing, one at the UI level, one at the API level, and one at the database level. Because see, what happens sometimes, we cannot trust on the API every time. And we cannot say that, okay, whatever the data is getting displayed over here or coming from the UI, or sorry, coming from the APIs, 32, what if tomorrow only 15 entries are coming? Then it's a bug. So we say, okay, fine, this is India, and then these are the 15 states are coming. But let's see, API is giving you 32 or 33, and you are showing only 15. Or let's see, API is giving you nothing for, let's see, for a specific country. So let's see, you go to, let's see, some country like any country, let's see, Albania. For Albania, see, these are the number of states are there, or maybe for, let's see, for Albania, it's giving you the states for India. Then it's a bug. So you have to cross check with the API that, okay, fine. If the bug is there, then we will go to the -1 level. That is the API level in the background, that what exactly API is giving you the response. If API is giving you the right response, then it's a bug with the application, bug with the UI. That is also there. But let's see, API is also giving the wrong response. Then you will go and check the database. In the database, let's see, data is correct. Then it's a problem with the API. Maybe they have hard coded the value, or maybe coming from some different database or something like that. It's not pointing to the right database and all such things. So you have to perform these types of testing. And let's see, the data is wrongly entered in a database also. Then it's a database issue, the data issue. The data is not correct or not up to the mark or not completed data that we have inside the database. So I hope you guys are getting it, that what is the level of testing that we are performing it, because a lot of people, they get confused with this thing that, Naveen, what type of testing that we have to perform in order to do the API or API automation. So don't only focus only on the automation, try to focus on that. What is the scope of API testing? How exactly we can integrate with the UI? Data is coming from the database. API cannot store your data. API is just a medium which will fetch the data from the database or from the server, and then it will give you to the UI or to the specific client. It will take the request from the client and then give it to the servers, and server will process, okay, fine, I want country data or any user data, fetch the information from the database and display on the UI. So this mediator is actually an API for me. Okay, I hope it's clear. So I'm just not just going to a typical theoretical paragraphs here, just not reading the answer, but I'm trying to explain you that what type of testing you have to do it. So now that is part of your functionality. The functionality should be correct. Let's say your functionality itself is wrong. Then what is the point of checking the performance and security at the initial level? So that's what we have to make my API testing perfectly functionality-wise is absolutely correct. And then we will check, okay, is it really reliable? It is really performance-wise is correct or not? With the 50,000 requests or 70,000 requests that you are hitting the API, is it really giving me the right response or not? And the security, that how secure my and authenticated and authorized data, it should not be give without any username, password, or without any token. So that is the scope of the API testing we should always focus upon. I hope it's clear. Let's quickly take the next question. What are the advantages of API testing? Obviously, a core business is written inside the APIs, right? So in API interview, they might ask you that, likely to ask about advantage of that. So there are many advantages. First, let's talk about the core functionality. As I told you, right? Core feature, core logic is written in the form of APIs. So API testing provides access to the application without a user interface. There is no UI, there is no GUI. So first, the developers will prepare the APIs. So first you have to make sure that, okay, my core system, see if my internal system is really great, and then only exactly same thing will be displayed on the UI also, right? If your internal system is not that great, there are a lot of problems in your body internally, then obviously you won't look great. You won't look healthy. Same thing in the applications also. If your background, your backend, your APIs are not correctly designed, it doesn't matter how fancy or good looking APIs or look and feel that you have designed, but your API backend system is not that great, then there is no point of having those fancy UIs or fancy the look and feel. So that's why the core and code level functionalities of the application will be tested and evaluated early before the GUI test. Okay, the UI test. GUI means graphical user interface test. This will help to detect the minor issues which can become bigger during the GUI testing. So, and obviously we have to think about the cost point of view also. If you're ignoring the API automation or API testing, actually not exactly automation, if you're ignoring the API testing and you're ignoring those bugs, so definitely it will be caught during the GUI testing. Then it will be more expensive to fix those issues, because now you have to fix at the UI level, then again you have to fix at the API level, and it will be so late that you're finding the issues. It should have, you should have find these issues at a very beginner level when the APIs are getting designed or something. That's why please more and more focus on the API testing. Before that, we have the unit testing, but for the testing point of view, for the QA point of view, I think we should more focus on the API, and then whatever which cannot be tested through API, or maybe whatever the scope of the UI automation, then we should actually have minimal coverage only for UI automation. And then finally, we do the exploratory testing or the typical manual testing that we do over there. Time effective, obviously, because there is no UI involved. So we don't need to worry about on which browser version and all those things, no navigation, nothing. So less time consuming. In fact, in automation also, if you see that, yeah, XPath issues and all such things in the UI automation, sometimes synchronization issues and all such things, and then not browser compatibility. A lot of things that you have to think about for the UI point of view, but in API, we don't need to worry about it. You just simply hit the API, get the response, and then check it. That's super easy. No, you don't need to worry about the web element is getting displayed on the page or not. Okay, so that's why the web element or the GUI testing is slightly slow, because we have to keep polling the elements on the GUI. Particularly API test automation requires less code, so it can provide better and faster test coverage compared to GUI test automation. In fact, I would say that you can really have a really good coverage for API automation. You can say that, I'm not saying 100% coverage, but still you can say that some 90, 95, 99% coverage also you can go with the API test automation. If all the APIs are automated with all positive and negative scenarios, with all the correct data or incorrect data that you have automated, it is like within 30 minutes or within 15, 20 minutes, you can get the results. Not like you're running the test cases for 4 to 5 hours for the GUI testing and then getting the results. And that too also not reliable. And API testing is actually less flaky test cases you will be getting it, because there is no involvement of GUI or XPath issue or synchronization issues like that, right? So obviously that will result in the cost saving for the testing project. Language independent, of course, in API testing, data is exchanged, as I told you, using XML or JSON. These transfer modes are completely language independent. We don't need to worry about that. This particular system is using .NET or C# or Java or Python or anything, that we are not bothered about it. Allowing users to select any code language when adopting automation testing services for the project. It really doesn't matter. As a test automation engineer point of view, I'll say, okay, fine. You give me the API URLs just like that, and then we are going to hit it. We know that, okay, it's up to my choice now. I want to use a Java, let's see, for RestAssured or Postman or any .NET client that I really want to use to hit these APIs, pass the JSON payload, get the response, pass the headers, get the response. It's totally independent for a specific programming language. Let's see the next one. Yes, so easy integration with GUI. API tests enable highly integrable test, which is particularly useful if you want to perform any functional UAE after the API testing. For instance, let's say simple integration, as I told you, right? Give me the registration data, or give me the account data, or user data, or country data, or region data. You can easily integrate with the any UI client. It could be a browser, it could be a mobile application, it could be iOS, Android, or any third-party client that you really want to use it. You can easily call the API and get the response in the JSON or XML and show the same response on the UI. That's very straightforward. That's why easy integration with the GUI. Let's take quickly the next question. Some common protocols used in API testing. So many protocols are available to be used in API testing, such as Java messaging services, JMS, REST APIs that we use that, HTTP, UDDI, and the SOAP protocols also we have to use that. Okay. So REST is the architectural way of designing the APIs. We will talk about REST later on, maybe in the coming chapters. So I'll tell you that, okay, what are different other protocol types are available you can test with respect to API testing. What is the test environment of API? So obviously that setting a test environment is also not that straightforward task. So you should have a ready answer for that at a time of interview also. The test environment API is a bit complex, obviously, as compared to UI. It's not like you just simple hit the abc.com on the UI and then the UI is getting displayed. But for API, first of all, you need to talk about, okay, APIs are working in the dev environment, QA environment, UAT environment, the stage environment, production environment. Every API is having, let's see, some gateways available on the cloud services or maybe on the cloud platform. Then you have to check about that API's environment details. Every API will be having their own respective database. If you have implemented the data in the APIs in the form of microservices or something, APIs are correctly integrated with the database or not. So for example, let's see if I'm hitting abc.qa.com, right? For example, let's see, let me just simple design one diagram here. So let's see, this is your QA environment, right? And this is my UI, abc.qa.com. This is going to hit my some APIs, and these APIs are deployed on the QA environment. So it is like qa.abc.com, and then we are going to hit the QA environment over here. And the URL will be different in that case for the QA. And then it's having its own database over here. So this is my database for QA environment, and only QA specific data or QA environment data is available here. So let's see, this is my QA environment. I can say that same thing. You can say, okay, fine, this is my stage environment or dev environment. Then I'm going to hit that separate stage APIs. And then the stage database is also different over here like that. Same thing for the production like this. We are going to call the production API server. And then we are hitting this particular database. That is the production database that we are using it. So how many environments like that you can create that? Let's see, this is my environment number 1, environment number 2, environment number 3, one environment for UAT, one environment for a stage environment like that. So n number of environments that you have to maintain, separate database, separate APIs servers that you have to maintain, where exactly, let's see, these are deployed on some cloud on Tomcat server or any app server that we are using it. Because browser could be anything. But if you're hitting QA.com, it should hit only the QA server. And it should fetch the data from the QA database, not from this particular database. So this integration, configuration, environment configuration, and maintaining multiple services on the different cloud. And let's see, everything is hosted on the AWS cloud these days, or Azure or GCP or Google Cloud or any cloud vendor. So you need to think about it, okay, how exactly these APIs are authenticated properly or not, like that, right? So that's why the API test environment for the API are not very straightforward. A lot of installation process, a lot of DevOps activities that you have to perform over there, and then a lot of validation, authentication you have to implement and make sure that, okay, different database that you are using it. Let's see, for this particular API, I really want Oracle. But for this another API, I need Cassandra. For this API, I need MongoDB for the fast retrieval, and for the, the data schema is not defined in that way. We can go with the MongoDB like that. So it depends on API to API, what kind of use case to use case that we have. So the setup and all such things environment is slightly complex as compared to the obviously UI, because on UI, you just need, okay, fine, Chrome browser and Firefox browser and Safari, and then simple write www.amazon.com or abc.com or any xyz.com like that. So here we don't need any environment setup things for the UI testing point of view. Okay, let me clear the drawing quickly. Next question, what are the principles of API test design? Again, this again a very important interview question. You should know about the design-based things also. 5 most important principles. One is setup. For the API test I'm talking about. First of all, that setup, just like we do setup at the tear down method. Let's see, we write in the test-ng or JUnit or any XYZ test client that you are using it. You have to create the object, start services, and initialize the data. If you really want any test data or start any some services to test that particular API, create object initialization and all such things, that is your setup. After that, these will be your execution steps to apply API for the scenario, including logging. So for example, really want to hit the API, and then I really want to get the response, and then you have to validate the response and everything. So let's say you really want to pass the headers, you want to pass the JSON body, then you have to pass the authentication information, and then you have to decide which call it will be: get call, post call, delete call, put call, or whatever kind of manipulation that you want to pass while execute that particular API. And then you are getting the response, and then you will do the verification points. Whatever the result that you are getting, are we getting the status code is equal to 200 or not? Are we getting this, the correct JSON response or not? JSON schema is correct or not? The data that we are getting from the APIs are correct or not, like that. So for example, let's see, if you go to this, I hope I have some test written over here. So you can see that in the Postman, I have written some test over here for the, let's see, this is the API. This is a post call. And first I'll prepare my data. Prepare my headers. This is my body response that I'm passing username, password over here. And these are the test cases that I have written, right? Same thing you can do with respect to manual testing also. Let's see, these are my tests that I have written. It's saying that, okay, fine, endpoint URL working with the 200 status code. So I'm checking the 200 status code. I'm checking, okay, fine, the response we are getting, okay, with body and JSON attributes, we are getting it or not. We are checking the response time within 900 milliseconds. Then we are checking that, okay, content type header is present or not. Then we are checking the content type header is equal to application JSON or not. Then we are checking the test data in the response that we are getting, whatever the user information that we are passing, my email ID, password, and all such things, first name, last name, everything is correct or not, like that. Some environment variables I'm checking. So there are multiple checks that I can perform once we get it. So for example, let's see if I'm hitting this particular, hitting this, and here we will see the test result over here. And you can see that all my test cases got passed over here like this. So this is how we will do the same thing in manual testing, or if you're using any RestAssured API or any HTTP client or any Postman, any client that you are using it. So these are the basic validation that every time we have to do that. So that's what very important, that first you set up, do the execution and the verification, because verification will decide your response from the APIs are correct or not, the data is correct or not. And after that, you have to tell how many test cases passed, failed, just like that. We have done it over here. These are my response. I mean, the result data over here. Fine. And then finally, clean up. If you really want to, the data that you have created, for example, let's see, I have created one user over here to, to fetch the information for that particular user. So in that way, we have to clean up the data or clean up the services, or let's see any a database connection that we have established or something like that. So that will be by tear down or clean up state that we have to perform here. So these are the 5 important principles, exactly same thing with the practical examples you have to explain at the time of interview. Remember this thing. Okay, let's take the next question. What are the common API testing types? That's again a very good interview question, that while there are certainly spatially tests and no list can be asked to be comprehensive in the realm, most tests fit broadly into these following categories. Let's see. First of all, that validation testing, you have to validate your APIs. Functional testing, that whatever that you are expecting from that particular API is absolutely correct or not. Then after that, the same integration with the UI testing, you have to do it, because maybe at the API level, it's working fine, but when you integrate with the UI, is it really correct or not? Performance testing and the load testing, also very important factor, because the load will be via browser will be given to the APIs. Generally, we do the performance testing at the API level. So that also we have to do it. And then error detection, runtime error detection. Let's see if you're passing the wrong data or data is not available. Let's say user is not available. So in that way, you will be getting 404 not found or 400 bad requests or something like that, right? All the internal errors. Let's say server is down, server is not responding properly. So you will be getting 5xx error or data not found error, let's say for 404, or resource not found error or something like that. So you should know that the proper error handling, is it like done properly for that particular API or not? Okay, because see, you cannot say that user data is not available. Let's see, I'm looking for the Swiggy app and I'm looking for a specific restaurant and I'm hitting it. And then I'm getting the response, let's see, 404 not found for that particular dish or for that particular restaurant from the food delivery app from Zomato. So I cannot show 404 error on the app or on the UI. Then I'll say, okay, fine, that if error is coming and then integrated with the UI. So UI will display, UI will read that, okay, 404 we are getting. We will display, okay, this restaurant is not found in your area or something like that. We can showcase that. These are the error detections at the runtime. We have to perform these kind of scenarios also. Security testing, yes, your API should be secured enough, highly secured enough. You should know about what type of authentication you have to use, OAuth authentication or username password or any base authentication or digestive authentication you have to add. So all different types of security testing that you have to perform. Penetration testing with respect to same thing again, so kind of security testing that you have to perform it along with some SQL injections and all such things that you have to do it over here with respect to check that, okay, how secure and your applications or APIs are vulnerable or not. First testing, we will talk about this first testing later on. It's not that important. You can ignore that. And interoperability and the web service or WS compliance testing. Is this really following all the compliances or not? And compatibility testing point of view also, we can check some checks over here with respect to this thing. But these are the top 7 points are very, very important for any API testing point of view. Remember this. Then let's go to the next question. What is the procedure to perform API testing? What is exactly the procedure? How will you test it? First of all, that choose to suite to add to the API test. After that, choose the test development mode, that on which environment you really want to test it. Demand the development of test cases for the requirement API methods. Okay, you have to ask for that development of the test cases, that what is exactly the scope, collect all the data about that particular API, what kind of it is, like it's a get call, post call, the header information, and the request payload, everything that you have to ask for it. And then you have to start writing the test cases for that. Configure the control parameters of the application and then test conditions. Configure method validations. Execute the API test. Check the test reports and the filter API test cases and arrange all the API test cases properly like that. So these are the This is the typical procedure to perform the API testing everywhere. These are the common things. Maybe you might be having some extra points. You can just definitely add it. But these are the standard points that we always have to maintain. Along with that, I have covered over here, right? The principles of API testing. You can just combine both the answers together and give the best answer at the time of interview. Okay. Now quickly, let's see the next one. What must be checked when performing an API testing? People will ask you, tell me about 5 important things that you are going to check it. So here you can see that during the testing process, request is raised to the API with the known data. This way you can analyze the validation response while testing an API. You should consider accuracy of data, how accurate it is. Are you getting the right data or not, right? Are you getting the exact count of data or not? Schema validation is again very, very important. See, what do you mean by schema validation? For example, let's say you are hitting this particular API and this is the response body that you are getting it. Right now, this username, if you see that this username is coming in the form of a string, and ID is coming in the form of a numeric value or integer value. But what if tomorrow the ID is coming with double quotes, right? For example, with double quotes. Then you are reading this as a UI developer or as a consumer. So you are reading initially as an integer, but suddenly the data is coming in the form of a string. Then immediately the contract has been broken between two parties because we were expecting an integer and now you are giving a string value over here. Or let's see, for username, you are getting some integer value over here, or for token, you are getting some numeric values over here like that. So in that way, definitely I won't be able to read it. If I'm not able to read it, then what? It is going to impact my users. It's going to impact my consumers, my customers, all right? So whatever data that I have to display on the UI, the exact same data we will be displaying. So we are getting, okay, maybe some exceptions from our side, from the consumer side. So first of all, that we have to make sure that, okay, the schema should not be broken. The schema means what kind of data that you really want to pass. If you have already told me that, okay, fine, these are the 7 attributes I'm going to pass. Now it should not have more than 7 attributes because the contract between two parties it's already designed. For example, let's say if you're hitting from the makemytrip.com, you're calling some Indigo APIs or Jet Airways or Air Asia APIs. They say, okay, fine, we are going to give you these 10 important information, not more than that. But suddenly you are getting, let's say, only 5 information or 5 data. You're missing something, or maybe some extra attributes that you are getting it. So it depends how exactly the contract has been signed between MakeMyTrip and the Indigo. If they say, okay, fine, we will not give you more than 10 attributes or more than 5 attributes, and we will not change the schema, the type of data also. If ID is numeric, we will always give you the numeric data. We will not give you a string data or let's say a Boolean data over here. That's a contract breach between two parties. So that's what the schema validation is very, very important. Okay. And these kind of bugs are very like blocker or critical kind of bugs if you're getting it, if any schema validation is not happening over here. Because sometimes what happens that internally developers, they change it. They got the requirement and it's not communicated well to you, or maybe it's not written in the acceptance criteria also. Then in that case, suddenly your test cases are getting failed and you have not communicated about it. So you can always raise an alarm. You can raise a concern over here that, okay, why it got changed, why we are not communicated well about this particular schema change or something, and on what basis they actually change the schema of type of this particular ID or extra attributes or less attributes that they are giving. So let's say, for example, after 2 months, they say, okay, fine, we don't need any image. So contract should be revised. Okay. The contract has been revised and it should be revised and it should be communicated well enough to everyone, to the developers also, and to the testers also, to the test automation engineers also, that, okay, fine, we don't need any image attribute. So from your test case, you will remove this particular step or remove this particular assertion. From the manual testing team also, they will remove this particular validation over here. Okay. So that's what the schema validation is very important. Status code plays a very, very important role. Whenever you're going for interview, please make sure that, okay, you are having idea about most of the important status code. You can just simple go to, Google and then simple write HTTP status code table. There are various, tables are available. You can just simply go through it. And then I believe somewhere like, over here, that is again having a very good documentation about each and every status code. You can go through it to the developermozilla.org. You can just simply go to it and then check what exactly the meaning of each and every status code. If I'm asking you, what do you mean by 307, 308, 404, 402? The difference between 402 and 404 or 400. That is 400 is a bad request. 402 generally be used for the payment required. 404 means resource not found. The server cannot, get that information about that particular resource that you are looking for, right? So make sure that, okay, you are aware of each and every status code. And same thing, you have to test it in your testing also. Data type, validation, order, and completeness. Like whatever data that we are expecting, is it coming in the same order or not? The data is complete or not, or it's not like you are getting just partial data or partial response that you are getting it. Validation, as I told you that, okay, the correct data is getting or not, or type of data also, you have to check that. Authorization checks are very important because let's say you are hitting some API and without username password, you are able to hit that API. It means anyone can just simply hit the APIs. Anyone can now make the payment. Anyone can get your order details. So let's say I'll go to Amazon APIs, Amazon.com, and say, okay, fine, where a username is equal to Naveen and give me all the orders of Naveen. So immediately from the Amazon side, it will ask you that, okay, hey, do you have any username password for Naveen? If you have it, then only the server will give you the response. Then only the APIs will give you the proper response. So you have to make sure that, okay, the authorization checks important. You have to make sure that, okay, if your APIs are having the authorization checks, it should not allow you to hit the APIs without any token, without any token ID or username or password or any kind of let's see, the session ID or token ID that you are generating. It should not be allowed without that. Implementation of the response timeout, that also plays a very, very important role. That is what I shown you here, that in the Postman also, that let's see, these are the test cases that I have written. And then make sure that, okay, whenever you are hitting the API, you are getting the API within a specific timeout. So let's see, it's not like, let's see, you hit the API and after 5 minutes, you are getting the results. After 2-3 minutes, you are getting the results. If you're getting the results for 2-3 minutes, and the same result will be displayed on the UI also, you think about it, that the kind of wait the customer has to wait for it, right? So in that way, make sure that, okay, you are getting the timeout within some milliseconds or something like that, or sorry, getting the response within some milliseconds like that, so that the same data will be displayed on the UI. So it's not about the problem with the UI all the time. The browser, your network, everything is fine, but API logic is not written correctly. It's taking unnecessary data. It's capturing from the database. So obviously it will take some time. So make sure that, okay, response time is accurate or not, or correct or not. Within some milliseconds, you should get the response time. As I told you, error codes in case API returns, like user not found or what kind of error code along with the proper message, you should have it. Non-functional testing like performance and the security testing, that also you have to perform it, because once your APIs are stable, functionality wise are stable, then make sure that, okay, you are using some tool like JMeter or Gatling or any XYZ performance testing tool or load runner or security testing you're doing at the API level. That is very, very important to do that. Okay, so please consider these two factors, non-functional testing also for APIs. Let's take the next question. What is the best approach to perform API testing? Again, same thing. You can say that following factors: define the correct input parameters. Let's talk about more and more in-depth coverage now. Define the correct input parameters, right? It could be a query parameter. It could be a path parameter also. For example, let's see, I'll show you an example. Let's see, I really want to get all the products. So here I can write one query parameter also. I can pass, okay, question mark, product name is equal to, let's see, MacBook or something. Then you should be able to get the right information about that. Okay, so make sure that, okay, preparing the correct input data, input parameters that you're passing, verifying the calls of the mixture of 2 or more added value parameters. Because I'm saying, okay, fine, I say that name equal to MacBook, but price is equal to $2,000. So you should get the data between whatever the given range or given parameters that we are passing. Within that particular range only, you should get the data. It's not like that it's giving you the data for MacBook where price equal to 5,000 also. It means that's a bug. Why are you getting it? It means the logic is not correctly defined internally for that particular API, because user, you imagine user will go to the e-commerce application, or let's say any hotel booking or any booking.com. So I'm looking for that one parameter, hotel name is equal to this, place equal to Goa. And the third parameter is that the rating should be greater than 4-star or 5-star or equal to 5-star. So these are the 3 parameters that I'm passing. On the basis of that, the filter should happen. And then only that specific data we should get in the form of response. That is important thing to check for the API point of view. Defining the basic functionality and the scope of the API program. What is the scope? What is the functionality? Within the scope only, we have to test everything. Writing appropriate test cases and making use of testing techniques such as equivalence class, boundary value analysis, etc., to check that API is correctly working or not. So these are typical things like boundary value analysis, equivalence techniques, testing techniques which are available. We have to test it. The exactly same thing that you do it on the UI. Same thing over here also, we have to check it. Let's see, I really want that, okay, price should be between 1 to 100. So I'll check, okay, what if I'm giving 101? What if I'm giving -1? What if I'm giving 1? What if I'm giving 100? What if I'm giving the price is equal to 50? So you will check with all the boundary value analysis, and then you will check how exactly APIs are giving you the right response or not. Okay. After that, you have to execute the test cases properly and regularly, comparing all the test results with the expected result, right? So these are the different approaches that generally you perform while doing the API testing. Let's take the last question for today. Okay, one more thing, verifying the API behavior under conditions such as connection to files and so on. That also you have to check it that, okay, fine, whenever you're getting the response, are we getting any files, you're creating any data entry inside the specific file or not. These kind of behavior also you can check it there. Now let's take the last question for today. What other tools could be used for the API testing? Obviously, there are various tools which are available in the market. There are thousands of tools are available for API testing. You can say that Catalan Studio, Postman, SOAP UI, APG, and there are different clients also available in the market that from which you can just perform it. Generally, I prefer, okay, Postman. Postman, every API automation engineer or API tester, you should have Postman, because the moment you hit the API, the graphics and the kind of it's very user friendly. It's very straightforward. You just easy to configure, hit the API, and then you can write the test cases also in the form of simple JavaScript. Also, you can do that. You will getting the response properly over here like that in the response section. So it's easy to configure. You can work like a workspace and everything you can do in the Postman. But if it's not, you are not liking it, or maybe you really want to prefer something else, you can use that as well. There are a lot of Visual Studio Code plugins, extensions also available like Thunderbolt, or a couple of other extensions also available where you can directly test and hit the APIs. SOAP UI is available, which is very old, famous tool is available in the market that supports with the the Groovy language. In Java language, we generally use HttpClient, RestAssured, Karate framework is there in .NET also. Like in every, I would say, a programming language, there is one specific library or the tool is available. You can use any of them and then start writing your test cases along with that. Okay, but for manual testing, you can use any client. You can in fact do the testing or hit the API from the browser also. Like that also you can do that. But I would prefer to use maybe Postman or the SOAP UI. You can use that over here. So guys, these are the top 15 questions that we have covered today. Otherwise, this video will be too much, because you can see there are many questions are there. There are around 60 questions. So let's see, per video, if we are taking 15, so it will take around at least four videos it will take to cover all these questions. Okay, so I'll be creating this. I'll share this documentation document also. You can download this document, you can take the printout, you can prepare for it. But my advice is that don't just typically read the whatever it's written in the paragraphs. At the time of interview, you have to explain more and more examples. Practical example that I shown you today, you can just do it over here. And then same thing you have to prepare at the time of interview also, because interviewer is actually expecting the practical answers from you guys. It's not like typical a definition or any theory or bookish knowledge. They are not expecting, because you cannot bluff in API testing. They are really aware of, they will really check that, okay, are you really aware of the terminologies? Are you really aware of these, the concept, how to test it, your approaches and everything, practical examples, give me some real-time examples in your current project and all such things. You have to cover those things. Okay, so I hope this video will be helpful for you guys. So please, prepare this. And in the next 4 videos, I think you will get an amazing idea about API and how to crack API-based interviews. So that's all for this particular video, guys. Please share this video with others, with your friends, with your colleagues, if they're looking for API automation, or if you're struggling with how to give the right answer for APIs. this is the perfect video. I'm sure that it will definitely help you a lot. So that's all for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and God bless you all.